Time for another fish aquarium update and a water change. Let's go. Hi, I'm Aaron Jones and welcome to vlog coming to you from Nihama in September 17th, 2017, and the big typhoon is coming, and so I thought I will do a update on my aquarium as well as a water change and show you some of the items that I use here in Japan that if you are in North America or Europe you may not be familiar with, or different brands. So I'll show some of those things off as I do the update on my aquarium. But first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a water change, and because it's time for the water change that I do once a week, and also the water level has dropped and I haven't topped it off because I've been busy this week. Well, we're going to solve that problem right now, so let's go. So what I do usually first when I'm going to do a water change, I do a water check to check the perimeters, and I use this Tetra kit to check the perimeters, and I record it into the application that I talked about in the last aquarium update. I'll put a link up there. It'll be flying around somewhere in the cards. The Aquarium application. So I sync up the perimeters. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to take out some of the water, about 30 to 40%, and then put new water in, and then we'll talk about the aquarium and some of the products I use in there. None of these products are things I'm getting money for. The stuff that I use here in Japan that's available to me. And so let's go with the water checks, and let's get the water out. I checked the perimeters and everything seems to okay, but need the water change, and of course here it's time for the bucket brigade, so let's go. Okay, so now I have removed the water from my tank and I've got the fresh water ready to go. Now the water in my apartment here is well water, so there's probably no chlorine, but I don't really know. So to be sure, I do treat the water, and what I use is this one here. This is Tetra Aqua Safe Plus, and it's a nice blue color. It does make the water a little bit of a tinty color blue, but I find it works really good. So what we're going to do is I'm going to add this to the fresh water, and we're going to put that into the tank. So let's go. Heavy buckets of water. This is why the only thing I don't like about water changes. So let's put this stuff in and let's go. Okay, now that the water change is done, there's something else I want to talk about that I added. I started doing this a couple of weeks ago. I heard this is good, so I add a little bit every day, and that is PSB, which is photosynthesis bacteria, which is supposed to be really good for the fish as well as helping the environment in there. So it's this pink color, and it doesn't smell very nice because I guess that's the liquid that they use to feed the bacteria that's in the bottle here. So I'm going to add a little bit of this. I add a little bit every single day, and then I'm going to change the CO2 cartridge because my CO2 cartridge has run out, and the ones I use here is very small ones like this. They're very small and they last a couple of weeks. This brand is Amano, and it's their Dew Aqua series, which I've talked about before on here. So I'm going to put this in, I'm going to put that in, and then I'll give you a little tour of the tank. Hopefully by that time from the water change a little bit clears up. It's not the best looking tank right now because it's still kind of had a crash before I talked about on previous vlogs. Here I'll have a link if you look at the last one, and the last one you can see things are getting better and much improvement. It's also very difficult here in Japan because it's very hot and it's hard to keep the temperature low, so that's also a battle. And you can see even though it's now September 17th, it's still hot and humid, and as I'm working on here, the humidity starts to build up. It doesn't help that there's a typhoon coming in a couple of hours, so well, let's keep going, and let's change this, and let's add some of this PSB, and then we'll have a look at the aquarium, and I'll talk a little bit what's inside and the condition and how it's going. Before we get into actually looking inside the aquarium, one of the biggest updates is I have changed the filter on this aquarium. Before I had a top filter that came with the actual aquarium itself, but I have changed it to a Jex, which is a Japanese brand, Mega Power 6090 canister filter. And I'll put this box over here, and it's sitting right over here. It's very, very big. It holds about 5 liters of water, and it has a good flow rate. And what it looks like inside, I got a picture on the side here. I've changed it around a little bit because I've updated it. But like this, at the bottom you have your bio filter, your bio rings, and then it has another kind of media for bacteria, and then it has a very strong filter for mechanical filtration, and then it has an area for carbon. I used up the carbon, taken it out, and I put some more biomaterial in there. And then it has a very fine filter for mechanical filter, and then it goes back into the tank. It's really nice, really powerful. Unlike the ones I've seen that are in North America, where the pump itself is located inside here, and you have to prime it, the pump is actually built into the intake, so that it pumps up like this, so you don't actually have to prime it. It just sucks the water in like this and pushes it out, and it's really, really good. This one is meant for this type of, my aquarium is about 60 liters, and I'll put a link down how many gallons that is. So I live in Japan, from Canada, I'm completely metric. So and this holds 5 liters, which is that many gallons, and this is 60 liters, which is that many gallons, to help you look things up. I'll look it up later. And so this has been really, really, really good, and I've been really, really happy with it. And I think part of the improvements was from that filter. The top filter I had wasn't very good, but this one is good, and it has solved a lot of the problems that I had. Part of the heat problem, as you can see, I have a fan here, and then I had another fan up here, if you saw earlier in the video, to keep the temperature cool. But soon, probably after the typhoon tonight, the humidity and the heat will start to go down as we get into fall, and I'll turn the heater on, and that'll keep everything nice. Winter, it's much easier to maintain the heat than it is to keep everything cool during the hot, humid summer in Japan. Okay, so let's go have a look inside here, finally. So this is after the water change, and I got the CO2 in there. I need to adjust the CO2. It's coming out a little bit strong, too many micro bubbles, but I'll fix that in a few moments. And you can see what I've got in here is green neon tetras and Raminos tetras, which I love. And the plants have come back. I got new plants. And on the bottom, that one, they're still trying to break in. I haven't had success with them. They're, I think, just going to be another few weeks before they start to take in. And so I didn't really want to clean hard down in here, because I didn't want to disturb these. There's some algae growing here. But I'm going to add some more shrimp once the temperature drops here in Japan. It'll be easier to maintain in this aquarium, because that can keep the temperature more stable. And you can see there's the pump, and I do a big cleaning. Today I was just a basic water change, and next week I'll do the whole big water cleaning, where I'm going to take apart the filter, take apart the intake over there, and clean everything out. And I will take apart this one and dump the water out, and just give the rinse of the media into the taken out dirty aquarium water. And that should be it. And I've got various kinds of plants, which I don't know the names offhand, because Latin names in my brain. I speak Japanese and English, and that's enough for me. My brain doesn't take any more foreign words right now. So you can see everything's going well. I do want to get a new light for this. This is the stock system it came with. This is the brand is called Kotobuki, another Japanese aquarium company like Jex. And and the light bulbs are Amano bulbs, but they're a little bit old, and I think they need to be replaced. They're not as strong anymore. But I'm going to get a LED lighting system in the near future to better do that. And that was one of the problems I didn't like about the top filter, is it blocked a lot of the light off, because the top filter filled this section here, so there was no able to get light inside. So this one still puts forward, but they're still able to get light much better into the plants behind, and I think this is why I'm having better success now. But with a light on top, LED one that's much nicer, I think the light will be much better. So that's just a little update here, and I'm going to turn down the CO2 because the CO2 has gone nuts. Too many microbubbles. I'll adjust that, and everything should be okay. So that's just a little bit of an update on my aquarium for today, September 17th, 2017. Tell me what you think, if you have any advice, things I should change. How about products if you're not in North America or Europe, some other places? What different kinds of products or filter brands do you have that maybe other YouTubers haven't seen before? So please share down in the description. Like I showed you, the Jex is this Japanese brand. Probably, I don't know if it's available outside of Japan. I'm not sure. Let me know if you've seen these products outside of Japan. The Tetra products, I'm sure, are outside of Japan, but some of the other things like the Jex that I showed you, and maybe I'm sure you can get this CO2 systems, which is by Amano, but they're expensive. This is a cheaper one. You can see it sitting right over here. I changed it. Now the CO2 is starting to come out as I change the filter. A little bit of micro bubbles, and then it'll come out and everything will be nice and clean. So that's all for today, and until next time, see you then. Goodbye.